no matter how good you are at navigating your life situation, no matter how much you think you have everything together, you will experience situations that suck. Life is generally an act of healing. You'll be doing a lot of it, especially if you had a difficult upbringing, especially if you've gone through some shit in your life that really has hurt you and you haven't quite recovered from it, or it's causing problems now or later on in your life even. If you have a memory that every time you think about it, or perhaps it just pops up on its own sometimes and you can't stop thinking about it, and it instills feelings that are painful, whether it's of shame or guilt or resentment or hatred or whatever it is that just doesn't make you feel good, that hurts, then this is an indication that that event has not properly been processed or healed in your life. Because if it has been healed, if you went through something difficult in the past and you processed it and you healed from it, then you would be able to think back to that memory and it wouldn't hurt. It would just be a memory of it. There wouldn't be any emotional attachment. So what we're going to do is go through a technique to really flush up that trauma or flush up that negativity that is associated with that particular event or that memory in your life, and process it so that you essentially get rid of the negative feelings and the trauma associated with that certain event. So if that painful memory is surfacing on its own, then, that's actually easier for you. All you really need to do is just sit with that painful memory, experience the emotions, and really just embody that memory. So replay it through your mind, try and picture it in detail, what actually happened during that time. Your mind can't discern what is a memory and what is real life. For the mind, it's all the same. So if you are going back into a past memory that hurt you, and there's some trauma there, or there's something there that needs to be resolved, then when you go back into that and play out that memory and you actually just really feel into it and you process it and you embody it, then you will start having these physical reactions in your body. You might start sweating, you might start blushing, you might even start trembling or shaking a little bit. Of course, if it was a very severe event that happened to you and it caused you a lot of trauma and a lot of grief, then it will be really difficult to embody that sensation and you will have some pretty severe physiological effects from it. But if it's something that's not too bad, maybe it's an embarrassing moment, maybe it's an argument, maybe it's something that you're ashamed of that you did, and it's just something that you want to get rid of and be done with that chapter in your life, then you might start feeling some effects from it. It probably won't be too severe, but it is still necessary to go back into that memory and really just process what happened in that experience, to really just feel it, embody it, learn from it. And as with all healing, the more you learn from the experience, the more you sit with it and give it an audience to really just allow it to happen and allow yourself to play through the motions and just be present with the experience of it. This is where healing really happens. This is why escapism can be quite harmful, because it prevents you from actually going into these painful memories and feelings and working through the trauma. Because if you have something to watch, or you can just abuse a substance or drink some alcohol or go shopping or do something to get your mind away from that memory, then you're never really going back in time to actually heal it. And if you never go back to actually heal it and sit with those thoughts and these sensations, and you allow yourself to just feel like shit for a little bit while you process it, then you're not going to discard that trauma. Your body will still be holding on to this dense energy. So if you have a memory that isn't repeatedly surfacing and it's not something that is just popping up and showing its face and saying, hey, I'm here, look at me, then what you need to do is actually be a little bit proactive in your approach. So start by thinking back to a painful memory in your life. Maybe something will just pop up and you'll be like, I know exactly what to think about, that I don't like to think about, but I need to. Really go through your memories and think about different things in your life that hurt you at the time. And if you don't have any emotional reaction, then, that's great and you can move on to the next one. It probably means that that particular event in your life has been healed. But if there is something that is coming up, some sort of physiological response in your body, you feel some sort of emotion that just doesn't make you feel good, then it means that that memory is still active and you actually need to do some work to process that wound, because that wound is still open. your body will react to this because it will say, hey, we've already done this, holy crap, I don't want to do this again. And you'll start having these same fear responses. You'll start having these same trauma responses that you had when you actually experienced that event in your life. Really just paint a picture that is as vivid as possible of that event and put yourself in that and just experience it. So this is all you really need to do if you're trying to heal or diffuse a past memory, is to just experience it fully, because likely during that time when it happened, other things were happening, you're trying to get out of the situation, you're overthinking about it, whatever was happening, that you couldn't really just sit with those emotions. So those emotions are still hanging there in this library of consciousness that you can file through and go back in time and go into these emotional reactions where you can fully embody those emotions and sit with them. That pain starts to diffuse itself and it starts to lessen every time you do it. And it might take more than one session to go back in time and diffuse a painful memory. So if you had something happen to you that was quite severe, it caused a big emotional reaction, there's some trauma left over from that. If you go back and, think about it and embody it and replay that memory, you might have these reactions and feel a little bit better afterwards, feel a bit more calm and say, whoa, that was intense, but, I'm feeling better. But you'll probably find that, it's not completely diffused. So it might have taken out 10% of that trauma and you need to do it 10 more times or 9 more times to really just completely get rid of everything, every emotional association with that memory, because the more you process it, the more you sit with it, the more it will just start to dissipate and you will heal from those traumas. That's really all you need to do, is sit with those memories, sit with those thoughts and feelings and just process them for as long as they need to be processed. Because once you do it enough and that memory is diffused and it's healed over, then you feel better. You will actually start to notice different effects in your life. Trauma manifests in many different ways in our lives, and if you are just generally feeling shitty and depressed and anxious and your life experience just doesn't feel good, then you probably have a lot of memories that are still emotionally charged. You have wounds all over your body, so you're bleeding a lot. You need to go back and manually heal each of those wounds until you patch up your body, you heal from it, you scar over, and suddenly you actually feel a lot better. You'll have these different memories, you'll have all these lessons from these memories and all this wisdom from these painful situations in your life, but you won't feel pain anymore when you go back into them, nor will you feel the need to go back into them. Because when you have something that is painful, it is begging you to go back in time and to heal it, because it will keep popping up. This is why people have PTSD and intrusive memories, because that memory is still very emotionally active and it is begging that person to go back and to heal it. This is why it keeps popping up. It's saying, hey, I'm here, I'm still in your past, I'm trapped. You need to come back and heal me. You need to come back and do the work and learn from this, because there is a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge embedded in those painful situations and those painful memories. So you need to go back and do the work for your own growth, for your own healing, for your own good. And let me know if this has helped you, because I know it has helped me a lot, going back into certain memories which, I thought I got over a long time ago, but it turns out that, I never really got over it. So I had to manually go back in time and really just sit with those feelings and those sensations as a more mature version of myself, an older version of myself who could actually deal with those traumas and those memories. You deserve to be free, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to not have to hold on to all of this emotional baggage from your past, and this is the way that you actually go back and get rid of this emotional baggage. So let me know if this works, and thank you for listening to this video. I hope this has helped you, I hope this has taught you something, and all of the best to you and your healing journey.